Imagine for a second back in high school, if your professor said, it's test time, we prefer you don't look at the book, but if you do, your grade won't be affected. What do you think everyone would do? Start looking at the book. And just like this professor distorted the purpose of learning and knowledge and made it cheap and easy to get an A, the Federal Reserve does the same thing with money. And it causes businesses to distort incentives because the money, the foundation of the system, is jacked up. What do we got to do? Fix the incentives. Fix the incentives. We'll hopefully get back to some semblance of capitalism. My name's Eric. That right there is Gertie. This is above my pay grade. Let's get into it. So I'm going to make a couple of assumptions in this video. First assumption is people generally make rational decisions with their purchasing power. They would buy something that either benefits them and their family, unless they're forced to do so, or unless somebody gives them the money for it. So most people spend their money on things that add value to their life or the lives of their family. And this is why capitalism, and let me just state, when people blame a lot of the ills on capitalism that we're facing today, we are far from a capitalist society today. Crony capitalism, where companies are attached to the state, is definitely in play here. But what happens when you take away profit as an incentive? And profit essentially means that you care about your customer's opinion, customers being citizens of the United States. By the way, this includes the government, because the government doesn't create anything. They tax their citizens. However, when you give that government the power to create value, it leads to lack of checks and balances. It leads to distortions in the market, because no matter how greedy you are in capitalism, there's greedy people in the government, outside the government, everywhere, right? But in capitalism, unless you're forced to do so at gunpoint by the government, people have to serve their customers. And if they don't, competition will come along the way. So let's say somebody wants to gouge their customers with prices. People will come along, entrepreneurs will come along the way and see the opportunity and say, hey, I can make this widget, this mousetrap for less, and therefore serve people better, therefore make more money for myself. All of that is distorted. All of it is distorted when the money is distorted. All of it. Because the people who get most rich are the people who are close to the government. And then at the end of the day, so this government printing thing can only go on for so long. And you can see in history how it's worked out with different countries. And we're somewhat unique in the fact that we have the world reserve currency. But if you're a freedom-loving person like me, inflation, although it's not a good thing for your wallet or your pocketbook, and in general, it's not a good thing for society. Understanding the levers that caused it and understanding that it might lead to people waking up to those levers being used and used against them, in fact, that would be the money printing and the Federal Reserve. And the fact that government can spend money without taxpayers paying taxes, right? So a lot of these government programs that are useless don't have to go down the checks and balances of keeping the customer, aka the voter, happy. Why? Because they can print money. So because those checks and balances don't exist, where the voters are actually seeing if this program is working or not, they just print it out of thin air. which leads to more government power. So a lot of people I listen to say, fix the money, fix the world. And I don't think the man's heart is going to be fixed if you fix the money. But I for sure think that it will align incentives in a way that incentives aren't aligned today. Because when you have the power of the printer, you can skip over a lot of questions because you just print your way to a program that you like instead of asking the voters for money and the voters actually triple checking what you're actually doing, right? So in a way, I think this inflation and this currency crisis, I hope, and part of the reason I started my channel is that it wakes people up. Because it's not capitalism. People are greedy. Capitalism doesn't make people greedy, right? People are greedy in socialism, in capitalism, in communism. There's greedy people, right? People are greedy. But what happens when those greedy people have the power of the gun behind them? Things get really scary really fast. Just keep that in mind. That's ultimately what a lot of people are scared of is government tyranny. They're not saying that there's no plan that is all perfect all the time. They're not saying capitalism makes everyone rich, but it for sure takes a lot of power out of the government's hands and gives it to the people and disperses the vote, if that makes sense. So everyone can vote with their dollar. Anyways, makes a lot of sense to me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. See you guys in the next one. Peace.